Good afternoon, everyone. That was Black there with Wonderful Life, a classic tune off his debut album, although we chose the '88 version to get you into the Christmas spirit. As it's the top of the hour, we've got the latest news roundup for all our East Anglian listeners out there. Earlier today, a breakthrough was discovered in the continued search for renewable energy following the events of the last few months. With many renewable energy facilities abandoned, we've received details about the first reboot of a wind farm within the Norfolk County. Our sources report that they've managed to clear the blocker originally caused by a lack of knowledgeable staff, thanks to some extremely helpful volunteers. In other news, it's looking like our first snowy Christmas in years, which will be a lovely time for all the family. So be sure to enjoy it. Just make sure you wrap up warm as you bucket boil your Christmas turkey this year. That's all for today. Keep warm, keep safe, keep happy, and remember, everything's going to be okay.
Part 1. Look at me. The greatest lies ever told tend to be the ones we tell ourselves. I hate lies. I hate lying, but even I am prone to the occasional misdirection. Whether to save someone's feelings or my own, I hate it every time an untruth slips between my teeth. Fingers gripped tight on the steering wheel, the radio crackled in the distance. Not actual distance, but on the fringe of my attention. Coming back to the here, the now, I caught the tail end of the broadcast. Everything is going to be okay. Those words made me colder than the frosted landscape outside the windows of my car. Not sure how long ago the heater quit giving me its all, but from my breath misting in the air it must have been some time ago. I used to love winter, and not just for snow when we got it, or if it stuck around for longer than a few days. A good few inches of it was enough to bring the world to a halt, insulate us in the quiet crunch of someone or something walking through it. The drip, drip, drip of melting icicles, the poor attempts I always had at building a snowman. Might call them more of a snow Frankenstein, but I am no doctor. Neither am I a mechanic, because if I was, this car wouldn't be shuddering beneath me more and more with every passing kilometre. The tyres complained, the brakes cried, and the engine no longer purred. The blasted thing gave me more of a hacking cough, as if exhaling the blackened clouds of smoke coming out of the tailpipe. Not a good sign, but I didn't have a choice. Promised Mum too many times I'd be home for Christmas, and... fuck. I couldn't let my mind wander too far down that path, could I? Everything is going to be okay. I mimicked the words that became too commonplace. Maybe replacing what might have once been hello. Now we gave platitudes that, hey, we're going to make it. Which we are. No point imagining otherwise. Well, everyone but the car. It voiced its displeasure one last time in a grinding crack, not unlike a thunderbolt of bad luck. Fuck. Another mantra of mine, uttered to the chill in the car as the engine gasped its last cough, a plume of black smoke trailing behind me as the car gradually slowed before coming to a stop. I slammed gloved hands against the steering wheel, hurting me more than the corpse of an automobile. I flipped on my radio, breath crackling in my chest, a counterpoint to the static before I pressed the button. Would you fancy this? Found a car tucked away in an empty warehouse. Looks like it got passed over in all the hubbub. Took it for a spin, coming to see you, and ran into car problems. I paused, depressing the button. Static filled the emptiness, and I felt it in my own hollow self. Swallowing, waiting a few more heartbeats, hopeful, before I pressed down again to speak. Yeah, I thought this one might get a little further along the road. Guess it did, but not as far as I might have hoped. Worry not, I'm not that far away now, nothing a good hike couldn't take care of. I spoke as I worked to extricate both myself and my gear from the car. I debated lighting the damn thing on fire to warm up as best I could before starting my trek. I stared at the dormant vehicle and thought better of it. My luck wouldn't hold out if I dare tried that. I'd likely lose a knee to a hydraulic, if not immediately causing an explosion loud enough to draw everyone in a 3-mile radius right to me. At that thought I shuddered, looking around from being ducked down into the back seat. No one, nothing, lurked nearby. And yet I couldn't shake the feeling I likely scared myself into. "I'll be home soon." With the crackles my only reply, I turned the radio off. Never knew when I'd find batteries for it, and I needed to keep checking in. Slinging one backpack across the front of my body and the other onto my shoulders, I gave thanks my thermos still held some warmth to it. I pretended rooibos tea splashed across my tongue, filled with spiced sugar, and that sufficed. That served to beat back the chill, but for how long? I slid the thermos back into the pouch across my chest and looked around again. No one. Nothing. Deadly quiet in the thin blanket of snow, bringing a certain brightness to the darkness of night, though. Catching the moonlight and reflecting it across the swaths of ground broken only by my tire treads, and now my feet as I crunched forward. Thankful for the snow boots I found in that farmhouse, not to mention the questionably aged soup filling both my thermos and my stomach, my feet wouldn't be wet. I hated sopping socks almost as much as I hated, well, this. The silence, the cold, the lack of so much. I gritted my teeth together, rubbed my hands together, drew my scarf up and over my face, and kept pressing forward. Along the road, I could only follow a hint of it, where the snowbanks were higher at the edges, or so I hoped. I didn't have a map, but then again I knew where I was going. Home. How long had it been? I pushed those thoughts away because I did not need that particular edge to skirt along. I just needed the road because this one led to another and another that would take me home. I knew these roads, ran them before, either for fun or to get away, on foot or in a car. This became my walk of... what? Penance? Repentance? Was it, though? I grimaced, and would have spit to the side if it didn't mean uncovering my face to the cold. I kept my eyes on the horizon, where the cusp brought the illumination provided by the moonlight to its brightest, and let me focus on one foot in front of the other. I do not know how much time passed, how far I walked, before I realized the glow I followed was not the cold light of the snow's reflection, but something else. A flickering flame of orange casting long shadows of the trees it tried to hide within. How far from the road had I wandered? I looked back and saw nothing but a single path of footprints. Thankful for that, I swallowed. Everything is going to be okay. Cheerful, whether I felt it or not. I adjusted my path to be angled, and I moved slower, as quietly as I could. Fire meant warmth, true warmth, but it also meant danger. Danger of a type I wouldn't ascertain until I saw it, until I got close. But a temporary respite against the winter cold was worth the risk of danger, and if things got particularly dicey, I had enough tools to defend myself with. I had no clue of how to use them, certainly, but a quick shot of adrenaline would likely knit my fighting skills into a neat bow just in the nick of time. You don't usually knit bows, I realized, though you certainly could. Mum taught me how. She loved to knit. Doilies and gloves, jumpers and blankets. I certainly could have done with a jumper as I trekked towards the forest's inner light. By the time I drew within range, I saw not a roaring fire, but a simmering one, crackling, a pile of charred wood and embers, with enough flame to keep it going, though not for much longer. But the heat? The heat was most welcome. A quick blast of the good stuff. A checkpoint between here and home, where I was going, where I needed to be. Beside the campfire was a bench, handcrafted no doubt, with most of the snow having been swept from atop it. Recently used, certainly, though the crackling fire had already told me that whoever had been here couldn't be far gone. How far gone, however, was another matter altogether. I slid the thermos out of my pouch, my vision snapping back and forth between the dead trees as I feared what may lurk within. I removed the cap, took a swig of soup, chicken perhaps, when I heard it. The snap of a branch frozen in the cold crunched underfoot. I leapt up off the bench and looked behind me.
Sorry, didn't mean to startle you.
A man, carrying bundles of wood in his arms, as if clutching his firstborn child.
Just needed a quick top-up. Keep him burning.
Oh, sorry, I replied. I was just stopping for a moment.
Nah, it's no bother. Glad someone else is making use of it.
He shuffled over to the fire and dropped some fresh logs of wood into the pit, rustling the embers to spark a fresh flame.
You on your way somewhere?
Yes. Home. I'm going home.
Huh. I see. Good for you. I won't ask where home is. None of my business, ma'am. Got enough supplies to get you there? That thermos gotta be getting empty by now.
It's... I shook it gently. There was little sound and little liquid. Bugger.
It's all good. Here, I'm about to cook up some stew to take home to the family. You might as well take some.
Are you sure? I don't mean to intrude.
Not a problem. Plenty to spare. Besides, it's Christmas. Can't forget the joy of giving this time of year. No, ma'am. Even if, you know, things aren't what they used to be.
He plonked a big metal rack atop the fire pit, and a bigger metal cauldron atop that.
Give her 10 or 15. She'll be all yours. Some of it, that is. Wife loves it, and the boys, well, they pretend to, I suspect.
I sat back down again, cautious, but with somewhat lighter shoulders. Why are you out here?
Nice to get outside. I always loved nature, even before everything went to hell. That part of me stuck around, yes ma'am, to feel the fresh air, the breeze,
The bitter cold?
That too. Luxuries are much more of a luxury than they used to be. And, sorry, but you're not one of them knowers, are you?
Me? No, I'm safe. Don't know their name, don't know what they look like. I know how they find you. Your brain is a screeching alarm clock
And they're looking to shut it off.
Yeah. Nothing else, though.
And you'd best keep it that way, ma'am. For your own safety. I got lucky, you know. Couple weeks back, fella comes into the supermarket, running hot as all get out, screaming about those things. Every detail. God knows how many people in that store ain't with us no more.
Jesus, like a kamikaze.
Exactly. That's the word. Spread the gospel to everyone he could before they took him.
And it didn't get you?
Well, my memory ain't so good, and I don't really pay attention to stuff.
Right.
Serves me well, I must say. It's hard not thinking about something, so the best way is to never even notice it to begin with. Keep your eyes focused and your brain clear and your blood pumping. Mama said that.
Mum knows best.
That they do, ma'am. That they do.
There was a pause. I'm going to see my mum, actually. Heading home for Christmas. It's been a long time since I last saw her, so trekking back home for Christmas Day.
That's sweet. Well, I'm glad I can help you along. Stew's good. Real good.
Yeah.
Ignore what my boys say, though. It'll get you fighting fit and home in time. You mark my words.
Thank you. That's very kind of you.
Billy.
Billy! Yes, thank you, Billy. I'm Maya.
Nice to meet you, Maya.
Likewise. We chatted in the blooming campfire heat for a while longer, as the beef stew sizzled and bubbled in the cauldron. The smell was intoxicating, uplifting, perhaps, as it was strained into my thermos, and I was handed an extra plastic container of the stuff. It was like getting a takeaway, a scalding, hot takeaway, and it didn't cost me a penny. I thanked the kind old man, Billy, for his generosity. A moment by the campfire, a tale of his 2 young boys, a light in the dark. And with that, I was on my way back, into the cold. Heading home. Hey, Mum. The radio met me with familiar static and crackling whispers of silence. Had a bit of a pit stop on the way. Met an old man, and he was lovely. Gave me some beef stew for the journey. I'll keep some warm for you. Well, at least for as long as I can. Assuming I don't eat it all as well. It's delicious. His wife's a lucky woman. Anywho, I think I've got another hour or so left in my journey, so I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. I waited a moment, hanging on to every crackle of the radio. No noise, no words, nothing. So, I kept moving.
That was Wizard, yes, with I Wish It Could Be Christmas Every Day, the beloved single from 1973. A true Christmas classic that you've heard once or twice, I'd bet. To keep you updated on the latest weather updates, we're hearing increasing reports of the ongoing snowstorm escalating as it sweeps across the United Kingdom. We can be expecting temperatures as low as -23, with them dropping even lower as the night draws to a close. Before you put the kids to bed and Santa pops down the chimney, be sure that everyone is wrapped up warm with your windows, doors, and vents sealed up tight. Light your fireplaces if you got them, and stay indoors as best as you possibly can. We won't be taking callers this year, I'm afraid. After the close call we had last time where some clown thought it would be prudent to talk about... you know who. Anyway, next up we got The Darkness with their Christmas single as well. Remember to keep warm, keep safe, and keep happy, and everything's going to be okay.
Part 2. On my own again. The problem with the light in the dark becomes that once it goes out, well, the lack of it is so much more noticeable. While the stew in my thermos wasn't frozen just yet, I tucked it into my shirt. What little warmth it radiated I wanted to cherish, both for myself and to keep it from freezing. I gnawed on the stewsicle in the container, stealing bites when hunger made its presence known. And did it ever, with a vengeance. The cold made me hungry, the hunger made me cold. The thermos worked overtime as the kilometres melted beneath my feet. I hoped they did, a dribble of a metre here and there with every step. Home. I wanted to go home. It became a burning need to stave off the bone-chilling winds that kicked up, the flurries of snow thrown in my face. Blinded, I struggled to keep my head low. But if I stumbled, in the dark, would I be able to get back up? That scared me and made me hurry. Shadows lurked in the distance, oblong shapes that twisted in the bare light of the moon. Even the light looked cold. My mind recoiled from the shapes before I laughed at myself. A barn. A house. Did I know this place? Had I been here when I was much younger? I did not know. I did not care. I pressed a shoulder against the door warped in its frame, pressing for all I had and more, until something gave way and the door opened with a pop. Slamming it shut behind me, I found no warmth, but the lack of wind helped. I could already feel myself thawing out. Surveying the house, its stark emptiness did not surprise me. Whoever had lived here already took everything with them. Or someone else did after. I searched anyway. Maybe no one had lived here before. I shook my head. No. I found some plates and bowls, and while those wouldn't burn, I could dish the stew out and eat it proper-like. Not that I was in a rush, but inside, away from the cold, I could set my thermos on the small kitchen table. A book sat there, and I gave it a cursory glance. Adorning the cover, a cute illustration of a pink elephant wandering along a golden road. And yet, the way the sun dimmed behind a cloud, as if to be swallowed whole, sent a chill through me more than the cold ever could. What a peculiar title. Follow into night, dream under sunshine. I looked around the house, but weariness settled into my aching bones. I took one of the chairs and started to break it down into pieces. Shoving them into the old iron stove, numb fingers struggled with a match. If I could get this going, I could have warmth and light. The idea of something new to read made me lightheaded. With the fire going, I spent a few moments unravelling my winter gear. The chair burned, but I'd have to break a few more to keep the fire going soon. I wanted to sit first, though. At the table, I forgot about the stew and picked up the book, thumbing through it. More of the same cute illustrations with an edge to them that made my stomach turn. But I couldn't quite fathom why. Turning back to the first page, I read aloud. Do remember, each and many elephants remember sunlight. I jumped as the wind howled, sending a shutter banging against a window hard enough I thought it might break. I turned my attention back to the book. See elephants march along the golden road, looking for somewhere to call home. I kept reading, following this pink elephant deeper and deeper into the forest. Page after page, the sun disappeared behind an arcing canopy of leaves. What light managed to peek through looked like stars. And then a page of entire black. That's a waste of ink? I laughed and flipped through the page. Never overlook the hungry ocean underneath ghastly, hungry, tumultuous seas. A weird font where the smaller letters got lost in the patterns emerging in the sheer black backdrop. I read it aloud, puzzled at the apparent gibberish. I can see why this book was left behind. Tears came unbidden to my eyes, which made the words look garbled on the page. The lowercase letters disappeared. I read again. No thoughts. Strange. I flipped the pages again, the laughter and its promise of more to come a distant broken echo. Swallowing, I kept reading, eyes half-lidded against the words to see them, like one of those silly stereographs people could see. I never could, and wished I couldn't now. The pages melted away under my flipping, the words standing out. No thoughts. Do not think, not of the sun as it shines, nor of the shadow lurking. Do not remember that which you forgot. Stay safe. Find us. There is hope. Do not remember. Look away. The book ended. I could not remember how to breathe. I snapped the book closed and stared at the title. Tears in my eyes, a pain in the back of my head. I couldn't not read the title. Dreamers. Fuck. As if in answer to my curses, the wind howled, and something answered. I knew that sound. Everyone did, even when they thought they didn't. I was the alarm, and they were waking up. Everything is going to be okay. I repeated the words. I hated lying to myself. I hated believing myself for so long. Another howl answered the first, and then another, until the haunting, hollow-sounding chorus chittered near. Too near. Thermos forgotten, book thrown across the room. I stood, ran for the door, gathering what layers I had peeled off. Hurrying, cursing, stumbling. I tried to dress. Threw open the cold door to let the wind back in. A scream. I stared at the form hunkering in the snow, a sinuous movement. My head exploded in pain, staring at the form I could not put any meaningful words to. Bent, broken, moving in a way that beggared description. I slammed the door closed, but it was too late. To sleep, perchance to dream. How about fucking not? I dragged the kitchen table up into the door. A china cabinet next. The sounds of wood scraping across the floor, a counterpoint to the sound of something sharp dragging against the roof. Or the insistent, albeit patient, tapping at the kitchen window. Like too much weight on too thin ice, the pane of glass started to crack. No. A knocking at the door, as if I had a delivery waiting. I froze, stood there, unable to breathe, unable to decide. Stairs up to the second floor, a door leading to what I assumed would be a basement. Nowhere to go, but I would not, just stand there. I ran, making no conscious decision other than moving. Except if I went down, I'd be trapped. Dead. Worse, my radio would be rendered useless. My chest burned with ragged breaths that I gulped down, my legs pumping with every beat of my heart, propelling me up the stairs. I knocked down a bookcase at the top, heaving and tearing something, somewhere, in my body. Pain came from a million miles away, buried under the adrenaline. I'd worry about that later. Later. I sobbed. I laughed. I ran. Searching rooms as more noises tracked me, I tried to blot out what I saw outside the door, but I could not. Like ink poured across paper, soaking in the image of that thing. Dreamer. The name burbled unconsciously to my lips, and something howled as if in victory in the kitchen. Fuck, shit. I ran, I hurt. I ran, I panicked. I slammed shut a door behind me, finding myself in a child's bedroom. A pink elephant on the bed. I threw the window open, climbed out onto the roof. I thought of anything but, remembering everything I ever wanted to forget. Tried to bury intrusive thoughts under trauma. Every failed friendship, relationship, family. Mum. Just about, I made it onto the roof. Close enough I could hang by my fingers, drop to the ground. A snowdrift caught me, and I rolled. And I ran. Scrambling to my feet from nearly galloping on all fours, I ran. To the small barn, or a shed. I could hear a cacophony behind me. I looked over my shoulder. Fucking dreamers. It was too late. I could see them. They could see me, but not with their eyes. I couldn't not think of them, and they knew that. They knew me, and chased. I dove into the shed, finding another root cellar there. I yanked the door open and crawled in. This must have been from one of the wars. I locked it, but that wouldn't matter. It'd buy me some time. I curled up in a corner. I closed my eyes. I breathed, preparing to tell the truth. The radio rattled as the cellar door did the same. My fear of a lost signal from the basement hung over my head. I shook it, throttled it. A few coughs of static pushed through the tinny speakers. A chance, but not for me. Not now. But for my words to make their way through. I had to hope they would be heard. I had to believe she would hear them. When the feedback popped into my ear, a sound I knew meant a connection, I spoke the truth. Hey Mum, I just wanted to leave you this final message because I won't be making it back after all. I wanted so desperately to come home for Christmas, but I'm sorry I can't be there. I don't know if you'll hear this. I have to hope that you will, because I want you to know how much I love you, cherish you, and appreciate all that you ever did for me. I pulled my mouth away from the radio for just a moment, enough to force back down the tears that knew their own inevitability. The wood protecting me from those outside was being sanded away, scraped and peeled and torn. So, I carried on. I should have been there. When I moved away from you, I promised that I would keep in touch, that I would visit, that I would make time for you. I broke that promise. I chose late nights and parties and drugs and men and women over coming to see you. I always said I was too busy, but I was never too busy for you. And I should have realised that before it was too late. But now, it is too late. I won't ever see you again, and I don't know if this will ever reach you. I'm saying goodbye, but I don't know if you'll hear it, because I never got to say goodbye in person. I wish I could just hear your voice one more time. Anything, just once. To hear about your wild encounters with customers at work, or how difficult your own mother had become, or fuck, even the latest drama happening in EastEnders. I bet they managed to keep that trike going despite all of this. What I'm trying to say is, I wish I could hear you. To know that you're okay, and that you're going to be okay, and that everything is going to be okay. Please know that my final thoughts are not of those we can't speak, but they're thoughts of you. I love you more than I could ever physically say, and I hope you know that. I would have said this to your face. I should have said this to your face long ago. I rarely told you how much I loved you, and now the time is gone. Everything ends, I suppose. Usually before we're ready. But please don't worry, Mum. I'll be okay. You kept me safe from the monsters beneath my bed for so many years, and don't you ever feel guilt that after all this time, they finally got me. I chose this path, and I have to live and die by that choice. Whatever happens, I will see you again. I don't know where we go after all of this, but I have to hope it's the same place. Whatever the afterlife has in store, I'll wait around the entrance for you. We'll go in together. I love you, Mum. Good night. Echoes in a Jar is powered by Patreon. Thank you to all of the current supporters of the show. Supporters Matthew Siadak and RM Hamrick, and associate producer Sean Holden. If you would like to support the show, head on over to patreon.com/echoesinajar, and you too could get your name read out at the end of every episode. Thank you so much for listening and for staying with the show throughout 2025. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas or holiday season, however you choose to celebrate. Thank you so much, and always read the label.